Hi guys, Rachel here. How is everyone? So I would like to show some decks that I thought would be good for the tag we're working on, Gothlit November. And some of these decks I'm using and some I haven't used yet, and we'll see if I get around to that. I'm not sure how well they fit the tag. I don't have anything grand planned regarding these decks and tying it in with the reading challenge, if you want to call it a challenge. It would be fun to create some spreads, but I have enough on my plate as it is regarding my reading goals. As I've said before, you don't have to read a ton of books. I just want to. So let's just get right into it. I feel like I say that in every video. This is the Gothic Tarot. There's the title card. So I got this deck recently. Here's the backs. It'd been on my list for a while, and I just try not to buy everything that I see. And it had been sort of in and out of several different shopping carts. And then around the same time, Anna, Astro Lady, she did a whole walkthrough of this deck, and it was really fun. And then Meg, I think, showed it like right around the same time, maybe the same day. And I'm like, I think it's a sign that I need to get this. I think it would be perfect for Gothlit November, because it's perfectly Gothic, right? I mean, it even has the Gothic architecture. Very atmospheric, like the Tarot of Vampires. I also find this deck very cozy. It might have made the list of cozy decks in the cozy decks tag. That was such a fun video to make. I'm not sure why. I think it recalls a time in my youth. It reminds me of a bit of video games and some of the things that friends enjoyed, maybe, that I wasn't as into, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I was actually, in my teen years, sort of a goth, but I didn't like to label myself. I was actually vehemently against labels. I'd be like, I don't believe in labels. I am me. And it's still kind of true, but maybe I was a bit pompous about it. I went through all sorts of different phases. I loved fashion, and so I would dress to embody a certain mood. But goth, yeah, was definitely one of them. But yeah, this is perfect for some of the literature on the list, don't you think? I love that Tower card. I think I was going to say they look like they belong in a book. And I think, if I remember correctly, that a lot of these are from a book. I'm sorry that I stalled there. I think the artist, what was his name? I think originally these paintings, or whatever they are, were in some illustrated book of stories or something. What was his name? Oh, Joseph Fargo. And I know that because I happened upon the book on eBay. I didn't buy it. I was being very good that day. Anyway, perfect. I haven't used it as much as I thought I was going to. Honestly, most days I'm still trying to keep myself from using the Jonasa Yaus. As I mentioned in, I think, my last present, it was like the only deck that I want to use, but it doesn't mean that it's the only deck that I'm using. What do I have next? All right. A Tarot of Vampires, of course. Why is it like this? Why does this always happen to me when I go to film? Okay, this was the last reading that I did. I'm not going to interpret it, but look how beautiful this deck is. This is one of my favorite cards. I just feel like I want to be there, like looking out that window. I think she's looking out a window with a cup of blood, you know, so cozy. I don't need to say very much about this deck, but it's another obvious choice for Gothlit November. So I just wanted to pop on here, and I just wanted this to be fun. I don't want to take this too seriously. I have had such a stressful day. I love the kings in this deck. I just love the landscapes and the lightning and like mountains or whatever in the background. Love it. Reminds me of, I don't know, sci-fi fantasy films that I watched with my family and friends when I was younger. I don't know. But yeah, I just had a really, really stressful day. I've been really high strung, and I don't know, we had a vet come to the house today for our cat, and I feel better about the cat. I feel like he's a lot more comfortable now. But it was so expensive, and November is tricky. Each year that passes, I find I dislike the holiday season with Thanksgiving and Christmas less and less. It's something that I actually dread. Yeah. So, you know, I've also not been sleeping. I think I mentioned that in a video, and it's really screwing everything up. And I'll be really, really tired all day, and I'll think, okay, great. I didn't even get a chance to nap today. I'll go right to sleep tonight. And then, nope. I mean, I am sleeping. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but I am not getting enough sleep. So I'm just really struggling to get work done and things around the house and reading. But so you know what? Thank God for Gothlit November, because you know what? It's totally suiting its purpose of doing this in November instead of October, because in a really weird way, it's been brightening my days. So this is the Dark Mansion Tarot. I'm sure a lot of you know this. I have these backs. There's two different backings on this deck. I have the clouds and the sun and moon with the black edging. So I haven't used this deck in a while. I have not used this yet for Gothlit November, but I think it's perfect. I mean, it's so Victorian, and a lot of the books fall into that category, right? Yeah, I haven't used this deck in so long. I didn't think that it was a deck for me when it first came out. It was just so cute. I don't have a lot of cute decks, I guess. And I don't know. I've never really been crazy about like the big head kind of thing. But I know I've warmed to it. I like it. I've learned how to have more fun with things, with decks, in recent years. there's a couple of cards I wanted to show, and like everything I don't want to see is like there's nothing wrong with this or this, but I love her. She looks, obviously that's Queen Victoria. My daughter is such a fan. There she is again. I'm sure that's her. She really got into the Masterpiece Theater. Napoleon. The Masterpiece Theater series, and then she started reading books, and she'll rewatch the series. She's been watching it since she was 7 or 8. I caught her watching it by herself one day, and I'm like, are you sure you want to be watching this? Because it was a really sad episode. Like, lots of people were dying. I don't remember if it was the potato famine or what was going on, but she was like, yeah. And then she had all these questions about the time period and Victoria and whatnot. Okay. The Vampire Tarot. This is the Natalie Hertz one. Now, this one was another recent acquisition. I had been thinking about this for a while. I didn't think that I liked this deck, but the reason that I found myself sort of wanting it was one of my very, very best friends in the whole wide world. No, but really, I love her so much. She had this deck years ago. I'm talking, I don't know how many years ago, but a long, long time ago, like way back in the day. I think we were all like going to community college together or something. And she had this deck, and she would give me readings on it. This and then the straight up plaid back Rider-Waite. Those are the decks I remember her having. And I'm embarrassed now because I used to come to her like almost every day with relationship questions. I was always brokenhearted, like tormented by some dumb boy. And it's like, oh my God, she must have been so sick of that. But you know what? Honestly, she's such a good friend that if she ever felt that way, she never showed it. And maybe she didn't. Maybe I wasn't annoying her. I'd like to think so. I mean, I always like to be there when one of my girlfriends is going through that, because it's the worst. It's the worst. Oh, I really like that 5 of Pentacles. So I do remember she was giving me a reading one day, and maybe she had given one of my other friends a reading right before me, and she looked at the spread and she like grew disenchanted with it or something, and she's like, I don't like this deck. This deck is being mean to everyone. It's always mean to everyone. I think I should get rid of it. And I've been meaning to ask her, like, did you get rid of it? This here. So I think what finally behooved me to get this deck was Medwitch was showing some of her dark, spooky vampire decks in a video, and she was showing this deck, which I was well aware of, and she was talking about how much she loves this Hierophant card. And I was like, oh my God, dude, that is awesome. And I also think that there's something overall very cozy about this deck to me too. I think part of it is the memories that I have. It makes me think of being with my girlfriends, which hopefully one day I can see again. And it is just sort of, I don't know. Don't you think so? That it's kind of cozy while not being like too cute. So anyway, I'm really happy to have this deck. And this has been working well for me. I have been using this deck. This is one of the decks that I have definitely been using this month. I don't know why I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry. I wanted to film this because, well, 1, it was getting late into November, and 2, I thought this might like cheer me up and get my mind off of things. All right, Tarot Chimera. So this deck I have not used for Goth Lit November, but I was thinking about it. I'm not sure. I was going through my decks thinking, what else could I possibly use? Let's see. I don't know. I think that, you know, and it's a black and white deck too. It's really eerie, like shadowy. That looks like very gothic to me. Mysterious, like, I don't know. Some sort of haunted castle with secrets or something. And you're not sure what's real. I think it could work. Yeah, I really like the works of Audouin Redon. I never know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I saw one of his works recently at the museum. It was part of some exhibit. Okay. So yeah, I think that could work. What else do I have? Oh yeah, this, okay, so this is kind of weird, but I find myself like really thinking about this deck and wanting to use it lately, and it's the Hoi Polloi. I think it's because the reason that I love this deck so much is that I love this era, you know, late 60s, early 70s. I forget when this was first printed. I really don't remember if it was like 1971, 72, if it was 1969, but it makes me think of something that you would see in a Gothic film from the 70s, right? Like a Technicolor one. Maybe it's a little cheesy and someone brings out a deck, you know? Let's see what the cards say. And there's like some ominous music playing. Don't you think so though? I don't know. I think that's what it is. I think it's just that I'm tying it to that era and with the colors and the Old English font and everything. I just think so. I think so. It's something that I find myself wanting to use. Maybe I'm nuts. Try not to make this video too long. Okay, the Victorian Tarot. I've used this a little bit, not as much as I would like. I don't know. I sometimes... Oh, look at that. That was stuck in the deck. In the box. I mean, yeah, it was stuck in the deck. Okay. Yeah, what in the world? Okay. Oh my god, I gotta get my shit together. Okay. So I thought... Well, this reminds me of the artwork that you would find in a Gothic novel. Right? Like maybe, not drawings, but what are they called? Like plates? Like silver plates or something? Because they had different printing techniques back then. It's definitely, like, I mean, it's the Victorian tarot, right? And it's black and white. I've gotten a couple of good readings on it, but I haven't been as compelled to use it as like the Vampire Tarot by Natalie Hertz that I just showed you, and a couple of others. I feel like I I haven't been showing these cards very well. I might have to just refilm this. But it's already like, what, November 6th or something? I don't know. I really shouldn't be putting pressure on myself to make a fun video. Just showing some decks. Okay. The Vampire Tarot by Robert and Place, of course, is next. Now, this is the one that I've actually been using the most. This one, the Natalie Hertz. How fitting, because I just read, this is the character from Polidori's The Vampire. And if it looks like Lord Byron, that's because it's supposed to look like Lord Byron. And Lord Byron is also in this deck. So yeah, again, I've said before that this is a wonderful deck for people who love not just vampires, but literature, and especially Gothic literature. I even like the borders on this. I think I said that before in a video from a few months ago. And I've seen it rounded. And you know what? I thought about it maybe, but I don't want to round corners on this. I think this actually just suits it so well. I don't know why. I have a couple of, yeah, there's Lord Byron. I have a couple of facsimile decks, or maybe just one, that I had to round the corners just ever so slightly, because I was struggling to use the deck because the corners on it were so sharp that they were actually hurting my fingers. I love that Franz Liszt is in this deck. I think he's here because I believe Bram Stoker used Franz Liszt as sort of a model for Dracula's appearance. I love that Coleridge is in here. Coleridge is another name that I struggle to say for some reason. I have no idea why. Coleridge. It just sounds weird when I say it. I love the garlic flowers. Oh, it's amazing. The brides. Yeah. Oh, the nightmare of life and death. Yeah, Rime of the Ancient Mariner. I love this. Okay. They really need to reprint this deck. I held off on trying to buy this for a while, not just because it was expensive, but because I kept telling myself, they're going to reprint it. They're going to reprint it. So I'm going to try to wrap this up soon. Okay, so I only brought out one oracle, and it's the Literary Witches. I don't know if there's any other oracles that I really want to use. I mean, I have like the Patrick Valenzas, but they don't feel very Gothic to me. I could be wrong, but they feel more like whimsical sort of horror or something. So this is amazing. I mean, Sylvia Plath, she's pretty dark. Audre Lorde. I mean, look at this, is a spooky deck. Charlotte Perkins Gilman, the yellow wallpaper, right? Try to go a little faster. Try to find, I mean, all these women are amazing. Love that there's a volcano in the deck. I've said that before. Angela Carter. She's on the list. Mary Shelley. Emily Bronte, of course. Toni Morrison, too. Beloved, we almost put on the list, and I wasn't sure if Beloved is Gothic or if it's more horror. I don't know. Such a good book. Who else is in here? Agatha Christie, Flannery O'Connor. I'm trying to list like the things that remind me of Gothic, but I don't know. Anyway, I think that would be good if I want to use an oracle. I haven't used an oracle in a little while. I have the Minchiati here because it just gives me those vibes, if you want to say that. Because this is something that someone from a certain era would have used, the Minchiati, you know. It's what date was it exactly published? Is it like the mid 1700s or the early, I forget. Or is it the early 1800s? I don't know. But now that's kind of, I don't know if that's fair to say, because then I could just bring out a ton of different facsimiles, right? And say that these all remind me of Gothlit November, because these are all things that people, maybe some of the people in these novels would have been using for playing cards and whatnot, or fortune telling. But this one in particular, just, I want to use it. I don't know. So I've mentioned before that we, as a family, love watching Poldark, and it's set in Cornwall in the late 18th century, and there's this old woman. She's like our favorite character in the show. Her name is Aunt Agatha, and I don't know, she's always sitting at this little card table with a deck of cards, and it's a Minchiati. I don't think it's this one though. It's very close to this one, but I think it's the other one that I want to get. And I don't have it yet. And that's not a Gothic story, but I don't know. She's always trying to like pretend something dark or evil is going to happen, or somebody's going to receive their justice, you know, because there's all this plotting going on and in the story, and I don't know. And then did I show everything? Oh, right. Taruki by Mr. Freeboard. This one I've been using too. I love these backs. I think this is perfect for Gothlit November. Right. Try to go a little faster because this is a little bit longer than I meant it to be. I don't mind filming long videos, but I have things to do tonight. I hope it wasn't too boring. I feel like I wasn't talking about the cards as much as I was just sort of talking about nothing, or talking about myself. Yeah, I've been having a blast with everything I'm reading. I don't know why I haven't been sleeping. Like, my boyfriend asked me, well, he's like, do you think it's the books you're reading? Are they keeping you up at night because they're scary? And I'm like, no, actually, nothing that I've read thus far is actually very scary. I did read something pretty creepy this morning, though. It was a short story. I forget who wrote it, but it was actually really good. I think Poe had praised it too. I don't remember who wrote it. It was like some sort of anthology or something. Anyway, I love this deck, and I love how it feels. And yeah, I think this is like a good, this would be like the perfect Marseille for Gothlit November, right? I'm sure there's some others that you could use. So anyway, we'll see. Hopefully I don't have to refilm this. It's just supposed to be for fun. All right, guys, that'll do it. Bye.